We are online. All right, so let's begin. Let's begin this live. So the main subject is the wild approach. It's a funny name, yes, for those who never heard about it. So it's not as wild as it sounds, but yes, it can be wild. It stands for Wake Induced Lucid Dream. So let's probably define what is that first. And I'm Yuri Zaritsky. I was born in Ukraine in a city called Dnipropetrovsk. Don't try to pronounce it on your own. Have my help for it. And I'm French Russian then. Of Russian blood, Russian origins, Russian Ukrainian, and I'm French by nationality. And myself, I reside in Malaysia because I love it here. I love Asia in general, and I love Malaysia as a country. It's beautiful. So so we will work today on the wild approach in particular. But you guys can post questions. I will go through each group wherever this live is being shared, and I will attend all of you guys one by one. And special thanks today to Phil and Juan from Astral Projection Group, who have allowed us to be streamed in their group as well. Mr. Alan from Lucid Dreaming Group. This is two main groups, very big groups, and with many guys in it. And Pineal Gland with Bianca, who also authorized us to share the lives, to share with the community, because lucid dreaming, astral projection is quite related to the third eye, pineal gland, etc. So the guys will find themselves in the subject. And yeah, so the world of lucid dreaming will have to wait this page. I didn't find the way how to share it because I do not have the expertise to do so. So yeah, so let's go back to the subject then directly. So you guys probably already waited for about 5 minutes with the introduction and all of that. So I will make some pauses with a little bit of blah, 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 but I like to go directly into the subject. Let's define first the definition of wild is, because probably we will have some beginners who watch this video, and even for some non-beginners, you will see that when I will explain it, we will probably discover some stuff that you didn't know or you didn't see that way, in that perspective, that way of doing things. So basically we have, as of today on planet Earth, 3 ways of doing things, which things achieve a lucid dream, astral projection, out-of-body experience, etc. Very often people will think that will think of the wild approach. So the guy is basically doing something, running some errands in his waking life, and then beautifully will decide to go to bed and close eyes or sit in some meditation pose and fly to another universe or change dimension. So this is what is called the direct approach. So but what we want to understand there is that that person goes from waking state to sleeping state. And what is expected to be part of this technique is to go the breakage of awareness, consciousness from waking state to sleeping state. So basically, you keep it with you, arrive to the dreaming state, and your nuts are together to recognize the state. So because you just left the waking state and you appeared in the sleeping state, but your mind is still awakened enough for you to realize that you are in a sleeping mode. So this is the direct. So why direct? Because you go directly from a waking state to sleeping state. And and there are other two ways of doing to achieve the same result. Is what is called spontaneous. So this is from within the dream itself. Basically, you are already dreaming, but you train yourself during the day. So we don't dwell on it today, but basically the guys will be training themselves during the day, repeating some reality checks and creating a momentum so that when they sleep, dream, they will perform that reality check and recognize the dreaming state. Or they just get lucky, discovering something out of place and recognize the dream state anyway. So that is from within the dream. So that's the dream, and from within the dream you recognize that it is a dream, as opposed to the direct technique where you dive into the dream with your awareness. And then there is the indirect or upon awakening. So that's another way, and that one has a little bit of an advantage, because when you wake up, very often you will be already in the dream state, and all you have to do is recognize it and take advantage of the situation, and here you go. Much easier. And you will see that actually we will link these two together for the practice of the wild and the direct technique. You will see that these two techniques are not necessarily opposed one to another, and even the spontaneous. If you watch my previous broadcast, that broadcast has not been shared anywhere else, just in Lucidity for All. From now on, I will share it everywhere. But if you go there, you will find the previous one. So I spend a little bit of time to talk about the three approaches with a little bit more detail on it. But all three are linked together. So the direct approach. Let me just go through and see if anybody came up with some questions. If everything is okay. All right. So looks like it's okay. I don't see much questions. Let's see in pages. Okay, I don't see much. All right. And the group. Okay, so if you're watching if you're watching us in the Lucidity for All group, you can just post your messages there, and so I will reply that. So Wake Induced Lucid Dream, but it took the funny name Wild, but actually Wild is practiced not only by the guys who categorize this as they don't categorize it only as a dreaming experience. They also categorize it as astral projection, out of body experience, soul travel, getting in touch with subtle body, etc., etc. So the technique itself has been named Wild. It's an acronym, short form for Wake Induced Lucid Dream, but it's just so that you understand it is covering everything. Are we still live? Yes, we are. Just give me a second. My camera went off. home is overfitting. Okay, so I'll say issue once again. All right, never mind for the phone. All right, so so one thing that is very important for you guys to understand is that even though when you read somewhere and the explanation is telling you go to the dreaming state without breakage in awareness, it is not necessarily the full truth of it. I think there is a little bit of ego inscribed in it of, you know, the guy or girl wants to be so professional and it's so smooth to go without the breakage of awareness. But the reality is it doesn't happen like this all the time. And the experiences where it does happen, so seems to be, are very rare. So how it is done? So, like I said a while ago, the guy goes and lays down in bed. So if he's laying down in bed, means he has been awakened. Makes sense, right? Another way that is so you are sometime in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is or night. You go back to the bed. You go to bed and you start practicing something. I will detail what you practice in a short while. Another way that the wild is very often practiced is in the middle of the night. So so how it happens, usually the person wants to get rid of the first part of the night. Why? Because during that part of the night, usually the body is more tired, wants to go to deeper stages of sleep, and for that reason, the disadvantage of it is that the body wants to go to sleep too quickly and too deep. So sometimes we will have, so that's the advantage for somebody who has difficulty to fall asleep, somebody who has a mind that is a little bit too active, which is my case sometimes. So I will prefer to be more drowsy than to awaken sometimes, but that varies. So you have to with time you have to look into it by yourself and see how see what is the best for you. So the other way to do it is, yes, is to go in the middle of the night and get rid of that first part of the night, and then go to the second part of the night. So the person will sleep for 3 hours, so 4 hours and a half, and one sleeping cycle goes for 1 hour and a half. So if you sleep for 3 hours, you get rid of the first two. I mean, you eliminate the necessity to sleep deeply. In 3 hours, we will eliminate 2 sleeping cycles. 4 hours and a half, we will eliminate three cycles as you do the maths in your head, as I talk. And then the person will wake up, put an alarm clock to wake up. In general, you will have to stand up, walk around your house, and have a drink, and go to toilet, empty your urine vessel, so that you don't want to get disturbed in the middle of your practice by the urge to go to the toilet. So you want to get rid of that, and you don't want to have a dry mouth. That will be disturbing as well. So you drink some water, you rehydrate, and you get ready to digest your water. Why do you have to wake up and actually walk around? That is a very important part of the practice, because you want to get your nuts once again together. Besides this joke, is what I mean by that is you want to wake yourself. You want to wake yourself completely, so that your awareness goes a few levels up. You know, when you wake up, your way of thinking is not exactly the same. You're kind of dreaming there, dreamy situation. So you want to improve that by waking up yourself by doing some activities, standing up and walking around. So once you have done that, and the time you spend doing that varies from one person to another. Why? Because if you are a shallow sleeper like me, if I wake up for more than 10-15 minutes, I will have probably to stay awakened for another 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, until probably I catch the next cycle. But if I keep it under 5 minutes, quickly go drink some water, go to the toilet, rehearse once again in my head what I'm gonna do. I will not have a difficulty to go back to sleep. But if somebody is a deep sleeper, falls asleep quickly, then the person will spend more time awakened. Some guys go to half an hour, some guys go to 1 hour and a half, no problem, and then they go back to sleep. Go back to sleep to practice, and they wake them some. So they're like 2 nights in 1 night. You know, they really break the night into pieces to create that awakening. Really wake themselves up. You see, and then you go back to sleep. I mean, to practice and sleep. So you see, I said the word sleep, and it's not innocent, because with that idea of going to practice without breakage of awareness, it's not the entire truth, and it can create a little bit of misunderstanding there. So I'm gonna tell you guys exactly why. So we have Nicole, Rosie, Nick, Lena around. My wife is just next to me there. She's also watching me directly and from her phone. Very naughty, huh? It's okay. I have my public. My family is supporting me. It's good. Okay, so let me check if any questions so far. Do not be shy. Like I said, our main subject is this, but I don't mind to help you out, guys, if you have some questions. It doesn't have to be necessarily related to what is going on right here, right now. Any questions, any question that you have, I will spend some time to reply you guys. So no worries for that. So just 1 second, let me see. That's good. Okay. All right. So yeah, why I say that there is maybe a little bit of misunderstanding there. I tell you why. Because you see, it's very, very easy to understand that you go to sleep when you have an astral projection, a lucid dream, the phase, or the shift, like I like to call it. It's very obvious. You ask somebody to come and try to whisper into your ears and see if you respond. There will be no response. You are fully shifted, flying in space, diving into the ocean, having a conversation with somebody else in the astral realm, dream space, however you want to call it. It doesn't matter. So you are fully disconnected from your physical body. When I say this, it's not always the truth, because sometimes not many people experience it, but you will experience it at least a few times if you practice often enough. Within 100 experiences, you will have it at least a few times, where you are still connected to your physical body, etc., and you can feel your physical body while you are being evolved in a completely different environment. I don't like it. It's very disturbing. But the main point of what I want to say here is that your physical body is asleep. So your normal state of awareness is gone. So, and your body has to sleep. So, and that creates a little bit of a misunderstanding, because the person, especially the beginners who have never experienced it, they don't know when to separate. They don't know what I mean, they hear the techniques, they don't know why the techniques are there, what they do exactly, and and they will wait for vibrations and sleep paralysis, which are not always there, and hence never have the experience. For example, I'll explain why on that point as well. So get it very clearly, your body has to sleep. The worst case scenario, I tell you the worst, the less worse, and the best. So the worst case scenario, what you want to avoid to do is, let's say you are in the afternoon and you go to practice and you spend there 1 hour sweating yourself out, you know, putting so much effort into it, and I'm gonna astral project, have out of body experience, and it's already half an hour. You learn relaxation technique, deep relaxation technique, the 51-point relaxation technique, all of that, and breath work, and you relaxed, you start to feel yourself different, and it goes on, and it's already half an hour probably. You still don't fall asleep. You are at the border. Maybe you feel something different. You think differently. Maybe you have some hypnagogia if you are lucky. And close, I'm so close, guys. I think next day I'm gonna do it, but no. So you spend there half an hour, 1 hour. Some guys go to you know, make sure that it's a pleasant experience. So this is the worst case scenario where you don't even fall asleep. Less worst case scenario, exactly the same like this guy, but you let yourself to fall asleep. Why I say it's a less worse case scenario is because at least you had a good sleep. You wake up after 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, you had a good nap, you wake up, you are refreshed. You have failed, obviously, to have the experience with awareness, but you have slept. You didn't suffer. You didn't, you know, you didn't say, oh, I slept. Okay, fine. So, and what's the problem? The next day you try again. What's the issue? You know, who is there to impress the neighbor, you know, the community? The only guy to impress is yourself. So you don't care. You know, 1 year is 365 days. The next day you can try again. So now, so this is the worse and the less worse, and you want to, what you want to achieve is something in between awaken and asleep. So how to do that? All right. So now is the the little secrets that not secrets because I'm telling you, so it's not a secret, but the little details and the technical parts that will make it work much better for you. Number one, pay attention to so if you want to perform your breath work, deep relaxation, actually what I find is daydreaming about something in a soft way, not too actively, has a relaxation thing. You can breathe in, retain your breath, and then exhale. That will slow down your heartbeat. Just try it out. You know, inhale for 3 seconds, hold your breath for 3 seconds. That will pressure your heart. Your heart will relax, will slow down, and you can repeat it 3-4 times, and you can immediately feel your heart relaxing. You can practice this, you know, the antagonist muscle flexing. So let's say you have the biceps and the triceps. So you will tense your biceps and relax, and then you will relax it right after, and then you tense your triceps, and then you relax it. And so you go through your body. And so that's the 51-point relaxation thing. I don't do it. So what I do is I just screen my body. Feel where the tension is, relax it, and end of the story. Sometimes I do just 1 breath, not 10 breaths, just 1 breath, enough, relax. The main thing is the mind. You know, the mind creates tension in the body. So just relaxing your mind, being, you know, don't be so strict on yourself, be relaxed, I mean, you know, the new age community will say love yourself. So yeah, love yourself is a good advice. Love yourself, guys. Be relaxed, gentle with yourself. Yes, relax your body, relax your mind, and then the techniques. So very often people think that technique is the magical tool to create something. So let me tell you that more often than not, I do not employ any technique. And the future of the practice, you will see that after a certain amount of success, you will realize that you just wait for the right moment. So what the technique does, technique has a few aspects that you need to understand clearly of why you do them and what they do. So my advice is use the technique as simple as possible, because technique that is complicated for your mind will wake you up. What do I mean by simple technique and complicated technique? So the complexity is how much mental effort you have to give into the technique while practicing it is the level of complexity of the technique. So let's say you're climbing a ladder. So mental visualization. Your hands are not moving. You're not moving anything like this. Your eyes are closed. You are immobile. You're not moving anything, and in your head you visualize climbing a ladder. So that requires a sense of touch. There is a movement. Maybe you also engage visuals, going from one bar to another. Maybe you even engage your sense of gravity every time you pull yourself, so you can feel the sense of gravity. So I would say that kind of technique is complex or medium complex. More complex technique would be maybe imagining yourself flying somewhere with the feeling of the flight, of the gravity, feeling of the wind, the visual sense of touch, because you can feel the wind, or maybe you go through the tree and you feel the leaves on your, so complex, very complex. You engage your five senses. Maybe you can smell and taste the flowers on the tree, So this is what I call complex technique. More simple technique that probably engage only one sense, and that is enough. Trust me on that, is enough. Let's say, for example, the one famous technique is a phantom movement. You visualize your hand moving while it is not moving. So you try to make it diving into your mattress, or go above your mattress, or going sideways in that way, or going up, down, rotate. And I make it even more simple. I imagine my hand into a jelly, and like a big jelly, and imagine you have a big jelly and you put your hand in it and you push it through, but it's resisting. You see, because you cannot imagine, you cannot visualize it's going through so easily, because your physical hand is in one place, it's not moving. So you just imagine something is resisting, like a rubbery jelly, and you're pushing it through. Very simple. Or focusing on the sounds, what kind of sounds you hear. You don't want to focus so much on the physical sounds, even though why not? And you want to detect some sounds which are strange. You can focus on that very famous high pitch sound. How does it sound? It's a bit like the flash of a camera, when the flash goes on, puff, and then it's recharging. That high pitch. Or those guys who have the high blood pressure or tinnitus, they have always present this little whistle in the ear. So focus on that, and that can be your technique. Focus on your closed eyelids, so you can look into the darkness. Very simple, nothing else, just observe. Then you have these colors coming in and coming out, and just observe it. Some guys try to conjure some images. That is already something active, more complex. all you have to do is being observer. So it's much easier. So you don't have because remember what I said is you need to let your body fall asleep. So the more complex a thing you are doing, visualizing in your mind, the more active you are and the less tendency you have to fall asleep. And actually what I advise is, as you are doing any technique of your choice, because maybe it's complex for me, but maybe for you it's much easier to imagine yourself diving into the ocean, feeling the water, and that's fine. So choose the technique that you like, but make sure that the technique is not too complex to wake yourself up. And what I do in between, sometime I quit everything. So I realize, oh my God, even this technique or that technique or too much activity. So I blank out everything. So there's nothing going on. I just like I fake a falling asleep. So nothing, everything is gone. But be careful, don't do it for too long, because you actually fall asleep. So do it for a while just to enhance your practice. You started from a waking state and then you're practicing. So the technique has, so I was talking about the aspects, that the technique has some hypnotizing value to it. So you're focusing all your mind only on the technique. The good way to practice the technique is you do the technique and you become the technique. So if you are watching something, do not think about your bank accounts. If you are listening to something, do not think what is going to be your next meal. You get the picture, right? I have some coffee. Let's take a small break from my blah blah blah. I just checked my comments. I have 12 comments going on. Mr. Jeffrey Lovins is always a couple, so I'm never sure if it's a girl or guy, but I think it's Jeffrey is a guy. Yuri, thank you for taking the time to do this. This is clearing up several roadblocks for me. Oh, my pleasure, brother. I'm most definitely investing in your workshop now. Yeah, the workshop is in a few days from now. I think it's 27, 28. Let me confirm. For you, Jeffrey, 27th. Yeah, it's 27th. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday. And whoever is watching the live today or retransmission, you're lucky. I'm giving out always for the lives 10% discount for 5% per group, because now is many groups. So the first 5 come in, I will give you 10% discount for the workshop. Yeah, Jeffrey, please come over. Next, you are describing me perfectly, Jamie. Best affirmation before going to bed: body asleep, mind awake. Yes, intention. Jamie, you talk about affirmation, and that's expression of intention. Very good point. I will put it on the list right now. I will talk about it. It's very important. Jeffrey, it's crazy how accurate you are describing this. I have been experiencing this worst case scenario several times a week for many, many months. Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey, I have been there. So it's not everyone experiencing things like me or like the neighbor, but we are humans, you know, so we do have things in common. Can you elaborate on what you mean by soft daydreaming as opposed to active daydreaming? An example, if you have time. Soft daydreaming. Okay, what daydreaming means, Jeffrey, is you are sitting down and you create a cinema in your head. So what I mean by soft versus hard, I give you the example of a hard one. You don't like someone, or you have a problem with someone, and you start to go into a movie where you meet that person, where you talk to that person, what the guy said, how you gonna react into it. Maybe you slap his face in your mind. What you gonna say, what he gonna say, what you gonna say. The next thing you know, you are sweating already. Your heartbeat has increased, your breath is in havoc. That is not a soft daydreaming. You see? You see, that is the hard one. So hard, what does it mean? Hard on you. You know, it's too exciting, too engaging, you know, and in the first place, I'm my personal, you know, self-developing advice, if I may, is I'm always careful to do not go into this kind of daydreaming, because it's not reality. It's just projecting your kind of nightmarish view on reality, which is not going to be reality. You know, it's not giving any service to yourself there. So I call it a loop. I call it a loop for one reason, because once you go into that kind of daydreaming, you stay there, and sometimes you don't even know that you are in this kind of loop. You are looping in it, and you are still fighting that guy or girl or situation of trouble you had, you know, in your life or with a person, and you go on and you go on, and then half an hour passes, and you're like, oh my God, it's been half an hour. I just lost half an hour of my life doing some cinema in my head, which is not going to happen, which made me feel bad, you know. So anytime I catch myself doing these things, I just stop. There is no other things to do. Stop. Focus yourself on something else. So in soft daydreaming, imagine yourself on the beach. Imagine yourself, you know, you are, let's say you're a musician. So rehearse your new composition in your head, something like that, you know. You are a swimmer, so swim, you know, swim. That just, or you're a martial artist. Maybe you perform some moves and you work on your last combination, you know, and you want to get these things, you know, that. But make sure that whatever you are doing is not engaging you too much emotionally, mentally, etc., etc. It has to be soft on you, you know. So and this is not a technique. This is just a relaxation time. So instead of making yourself complicated with, you know, how to relax your body, how to relax your mind, all of this and and technique. I tell you, daydream. You can daydream about your bank account and your future loan. I don't advise to take loan, of course, if it's okay with you. Or you can daydream about your love story with your future husband or future wife. You know, if it makes you relaxed, do it. If it's something that you are thinking about today and it relaxes you, so how you know you're relaxed? There's many signposts there. When you start to not notice that you have changed, you have been daydreaming about something and then you changed and jumped to another and another, that's one, you are losing focus there. That's a sign that you need to be more active there. Or you are doing the technique and then you stop doing the technique, but you are supposed to do it. You didn't consciously decided to stop it. So that's you are very close to sleep. So that is a sign that you need to be a little bit more active. So you do this daydreaming, then come back to the technique. So whatever technique you choose, my advice is do one technique or two technique. You can do one technique for 1 minute, another technique for another minute, and you do like a rotation. You can rotate from one technique to another, and then probably with intuition you will probably stick to one or two or three. You can do it, but make sure that it doesn't wake you up. It has to drag you to sleep, but slowly. You want to go to sleep. You want your body to fall asleep. So another aspect of the technique, so one aspect, like I mentioned, it is hypnotizing, relaxing, bringing you to sleep, because you become the technique and you don't think about your bank account, but you're pushing your hand through the jelly. Get the picture. Another aspect of the technique that you need to understand, technique is an anchor. It's an activity that you carry with you into sleep. So the technique will wake you up. What happens is there is a break of awareness, break of consciousness that many guys do not want to talk about or prefer not to say it, but it is there. I give this example all the time. You drive your car and doof, that just happened, you know, and everyone knows, everyone who is a bit tired driving the car, boom. So what was that? Break of consciousness. So when and sometimes you did, that's a micro sleep that just happened. And the guy who is laying down in bed and that thing happened, the guy doesn't notice it, you see. So there is a rumor that says, and I'm big, I would say the rumor has its value. has its truth there, is that maybe what we call direct doesn't exist. And me personally, direct without breakage of awareness and consciousness, it's very rare. I mean, the impression of it. But can you trust your impression? Can you confirm 100% sure that this didn't happen while you're already laying down in your pillow and eyes closed and relaxed, and you are practicing something, and you just lost it, and then you regain consciousness, awareness, not consciousness, awareness. And how can you be 100% sure that this didn't happen? You can't. So the technique, the second aspect of the technique, is the technique that is going to catch you up. So trust me on that, but trust the technique on that. So you are doing the technique for that purpose. So you don't just lose it and then wake yourself up in 1 hour and a half and saying, oh shit, man. I mean, no shit. You slept, it's good. Say thank you, I slept. It's a good thing to sleep, Today many people undersleep. You don't sleep enough. So that's the second aspect of the technique. And the third aspect of the technique is it's a revealer. Reveal the environment you are in. It's a revealer, like how to say it? It's a detector. It's a detector. The technique is a detector. So let's say you push your hand through the jelly, and you have not shifted. You are still in your physical body. So what is going to happen? You still push your hand through the jelly, but it doesn't go through. The moment you have shifted into the dream state, your hand will go through. And you have hands to conclude that you are in the dream state and separate at that moment. Because your physical hand is not going through any jelly. There is no jelly. And your physical hand is not moving. Now you just got a hold of your dream hand that is moving to the jelly, or the phantom movement. Your hand just penetrated the mattress, or your hand is above the mattress, and sometimes you still feel your physical body. So it's like you have a third hand, or you have another pair of hands on top of your two hands. So any beginner who is listening, that's the stuff. That is what is going to happen. So that's what you are looking for. Many beginners don't know what to look for. Well, when do you separate? Everyone talks about vibration and sleep paralysis. Bullshit. It doesn't always happen. Anyone who has a substantial amount of experience knows that paralysis you can go through without noticing it, and strong vibrations or mild vibrations do not always happen. It's all associated with the transition. When you shift from waking state to sleeping state, you will encounter all these vibrations, sleep paralysis, but sometimes the shift is like that, and you are in the dream state, and many beginners do not confuse the dream state with waking state and still continue to do the technique while they are already in the dream state. So do not forget the third aspect of the technique. The technique must tell you where you are. So if you are climbing a ladder or a rope, you must be in the presence of the real. When I say real, I mean go and grab the bar right now, any bar, and tell to your mind, this is how the bar feels like, and this is the real feeling, and this is what I'm looking for. Any technique that you employ, you must know when is the moment the technique has started to work. So if it's pushing through the jelly, the hand has to go through. If it's the phantom movement, the hand has to go through. If you're focusing on your sounds, you must hear some sounds that are not supposed to be there. One example of such a thing is somebody starts to tell you, Mr. Jeffrey, please don't do astral projection because you're going to get possessed. And I say, Alex, now I stand up. You see what I mean? So any kind of thing, or somebody, or the pillow is talking to you, or somebody parks a motorbike next to your bed. There is no motorbike, so for you that's a sign. Or you have been focusing on your closed eyelids and you see a completely different room all of a sudden. That's a sign. You cannot see with your closed eyelids while you are awakened. But in the dream state, you are seeing a new, new environment. So stand up. Do not stay there looking at the sailing. Stand up and don't freak out. So if you're a beginner, don't freak out, and remember what I just said. Go with confidence and have your adventure. Always decide what you want to do. So this is the 3 aspects. Let me just go through the comments one more time, see what's going on. So give me a second, and during this time I will take just 1 minute to check everything. And Jamie, it's always nice to hear this talk about OBE lucid dreaming. It keeps me motivated and always ready to have awesome conscious OBE. Thank you, Jamie. That's it goes directly to my heart. But you are a long time practitioner, so what you say there, it's a very very real thing. It's because even guys who practice for a long time, like you and me and many other guys, sometimes we go on with life or we focus on other things, and it's very nice. I watch many other guys, even though I am considered by some as professional, but yeah, but me too. I like to watch this guy and that guy. I mean, the good guys. I can give you some names. I have no problem with it. I'm not to say I'm the only one on earth. There's many guys who have achieved good skills, and they know what they are talking about. And it's always nice to go and watch them, to rub their shoulders with them, and always get the motivation and come back to practice. And sometimes you hear some new stuff. I will tell you some new stuff today, just in a short while. And it keeps you going, not to forget. And I always said, what is more amazing than this practice, I mean, the guys who do psychedelics, all that, mushrooms, LSD, they can argue with it, but not many of them do out-of-body experience, you see. So I say dreaming is quite superior to all of that. And you can experience psychedelic stuff in the dreams. So actually what we do, I have never seen anything superior to dreaming practice, and it's absolutely free, absolutely healthy, no strain on your physical system. It's an amazing thing. So why forget? If you have learned, you have learned the good techniques, you have achieved a few good results, don't forget. Come and spend some time. That's why we have the communities. Very nice group, astral projection group, lucid dreaming group. This is the 2 groups, the main groups, and we have my group, Lucidity for All, where my purpose is to put everyone together. I don't want to argue with astral projectors or lucid dreamers, metaphysical, physical, mystical. I put it all together. Doors open, but the beauty of it is that you go there and guys come up with new things, and we progress together. It's interesting. It's a good stuff. So Jamie, yes, it's I know what you mean, but it keeps me motivated. So and my friend, you motivate me too with all you do, with all the beautiful job you do with your group. Jeffrey, I understand passive observation, non-conjuring sequence. Yeah, it's a different. You can conjure, Jeffrey, or you can observe and see what comes out. The advantage of being passive, my opinion, my personal opinion about it, is that when you want to conjure something, the advantage of it is you're gonna end up on the moon because you want to be on the moon, or you're gonna end up in the ocean because you want to be on the ocean. And the dream state is very nice, is very kind. It's like in Bible, I'm not religious, yeah. Ask and ye shall get it. In the dream state, that's the shit. Just to say the shit. Sometimes I use these words. Fuck, shit, and all that. So hopefully not too many kids. I try to stay away from those words. I use them with caution. They are powerful. So I use them seldomly, powerfully. Hopefully. Or with a few beers, with a good friend, without being negative. Yeah, so The advantage of active is that you're going to end up somewhere. The disadvantage of it is that your natural process is doing already something, and you conjure and you want to conjure something. So I'm thinking you are practicing the dream state already began, maybe already started the process doing something, and then you want to conjure something on top of it, so it will deviate, and the creative process have to be put in place to do it. But looking at the power of the dream machine, what I say probably is not such a big problem, because looks like dream machine is quite powerful. You think spider, you turn around, the spider is there on the spot. You know, like teleportation technique to find something behind the door. It's quick, it's 1 second or 2. But I like the, so so that's the advantage and disadvantage of passive observation and active observation. Visualization of you are laying down in bed and you imagine yourself in a massage chair on the beach. Jamie will like it because he's a massage therapist. So if you are in US, please visit Jamie. He's such a beautiful person. I'm sure his massages are good. Aurelien, hello. Hi, Aurelien. Geoffrey, US Navy sailor here. Curse words never offended me. You know, I think the words have power. So it's good to spend some time to understand the power of words, their meaning, and to be gentle with other people, because sometimes what it means for me doesn't mean the same for you. So we have to be we need to have a little bit of kindness and understanding there. It's just we come from different backgrounds. Sometimes it's not the same. Okay, so let's go. So I repeat one more time the three aspects of the techniques, and the aspect that they don't have, they are not magical. They do not bring you to the experience because the technique is special. Use any technique. You can use mantra, mudras, badras, whatever you want. Any technique that I mentioned from before, they do not matter. They only have the aspect that matter. They are anchoring. They bring you back to your waking state, and you want to end up in a hybrid state between awaken and asleep. So that's what the anchoring, the anchoring anchor, you know, like from the boat, the anchors to catch. So they have this catching aspect to them. That's why you do them. That's why you want them, so you don't simply fall asleep and have a good nap, which is good too. The second one, they are hypnotizing if they are done correctly, done with full attention given to the technique, and metaphorically speaking, you become the technique. You become the hand pushing through the jelly, and you don't pay any attention to your head, to your legs, to anything else. To are you hot, are you cold, is it noisy? You don't give a shit. Only your hand, or only your vision, or only your ears, or your piano, or your whatever the technique you use. And the third one, very important one, so I'm repeating because repetition is the mother of learning. So even though sometimes I repeat myself, but I do it on purpose because it's, you know, need to repeat. So the third one, need to focus on the things. The third one is that it is a revealer, it is a detector. So any beginner who is listening, the technique, whatever technique you are using, you need to tell yourself when the technique works. So this is the moment where you have to take the conscious decision to separate. How do you separate? Stand up. Stand up as usual. I do not do usually anything more complicated than that. How you stand up from the bed every day, this is how you stand up once you have shifted into your dream state. So if you're a beginner, you don't know you have shifted, so the technique is a revealer. Somebody is telling you something and you are alone in bed, the technique is working. Stand up. There are fancy separations, is to melt into the bed or dive into the bed, start to levitate, fly, teleport, that's more complicated. But you don't need to do that. You need just to stand up from your bed. That's all you need to do. Okay? So that's how you separate, guys. I think we covered quite a bit. Let me check. So I hope this is clear. Let me check. Just give me a small minute. I check with other groups if there are questions there. If anybody is asking anything, and then I'm back to you guys. So take time to ask me questions. I'm here to answer you live. And this is specific files. All right. So okay. So looks like we need some moderation done there. So the guys are. We will improve the live cast, because now I will commit to live cast every 2-3 days. I will try to practice this with you guys. Maybe even tonight I will do one if I'm motivated and treat another subject. Why not? It's a good thing to do, you know. It's everybody is happy. It looks like you guys are enjoying it, and it's much easier than read the book. Plus, it's interactive. You can ask me questions directly. So, I think this is the format of the future, to interact with the community rather than messages. Sometimes guys are just lazy to read the message. Video you can put. Yeah, this will never go to forgotten. You can always review the video. Normally, I will put them in our channel. So Lucidity for All channel is out. Subscribe there, and you can go to your kitchen, do some cooking. You put the stuff on, you listen, and you get yourself remotivated for the night. You know, so it's good. Charlie Oliver is online as well with us. Hi. All right, so normally we have covered the subject of the direct technique, the wild. So I was saying there is a rumor that wild doesn't exist. Personally, with thousands of experiences, thousands of projections, I stopped counting after 1005. I still record my dreams. That practice is always good, because so that's one of the tips I'm giving you guys. Record your practice in your dream journal. Is much better if you find a written one, because we don't write so much after we graduate from school. It's always typing the text. I like to use my hands, so it's nice. And how you do it? You record your dreams in the middle of the night with just 1 or 2 keywords, and in the morning you try to write down the whole experience with as much detail as you can recover. Do it on the day itself, not the next day, because in 24 hours you will lose a lot of details. Why you do that? You will, without going to details, watch my previous cast. Live, I explain it, but the result of it is you will have a much better memory for dreaming experiences. You will improve your memory. You will improve your dream recall. So that's the practice, the practice of dream journaling. Another thing with it is that you can open up your progress. Let's say you have been working diligently on your dreaming practices for a while, and then you quit it for a month or 2 because you have a baby born, or you have an important enterprise with your company going on, stuff like that. So you relax your practices for a while. You can and 2 months later you don't remember what the heck you were doing. But if you open up your dream journal, you can see your progress. Write down there what kind of technique you have been using, what kind of errors you are doing, all the mistakes you are doing. What I do is I even write down mistakes. I rewrite them from one page to another. I take 1 page per dream, and I write down the mistakes, because I'm worried that I'm gonna commit the same mistake again. So I write it down until I'm sure that is already ingrained in my, like, you know, like a fighter. You have your reflexes, you know, like you're in a dream state, and the dreams start to collapse. and you go into the dream anchoring, you increase your vision quality, you increase the definition of things, you can see as far in the horizon as in the waking state, so you increase that, and, you know, so you have that reactivity, as opposed to someone who didn't pay attention, was talking to someone, and the vision is reducing, and the dream change happen, and the guy doesn't recognize as the false awakening, or he would just have a premature awakening because he forgot to anchor himself or re-anchor himself. You know, so that can be worked out in your dream journal. In a systematic way, and 5 months later you didn't practice for 5 months, it happens, you know, you open your dream journal, okay, and you can restart exactly where you have left, or just a few techniques backwards, you know, but you don't start from zero because you don't even remember what you were doing, you know, what have you achieved, you know. Sometimes you don't remember what you had for breakfast the day before, you see what I mean? So dream journal is a good is a good tool. So something interesting. I promised you two very interesting information, and Jamie Longers was talking about the intention. So this is very recent result. I was talking about it in the previous podcast. Is the split of successful access to the state per the technique employed to achieve the state. So the wild we talk about, that is one, spontaneous from within the dream, and upon awakening. So you have these three. So Mr. Michael Raduga, to whom I have immense respect, you can always learn from him, or the guys that he has advised to learn from, you can learn from me. I'm also one of the guys who used to work with Michael, and we went separated ways for some reasons. It doesn't need to be mentioned now. Good reasons, not bad reasons. So he did an experiment, a recent experiment. He took 200 or 500 guys. I forgot the exact number. I need to check it. And the split goes like this. So guys have the experience, astral projection, out of body, lucid dream, however you want to call it. I'm not arguing on that. And he did the split. So how many achieved it spontaneously? How many achieved with direct, wild, or upon awakenings, indirect? And the split is very interesting. Direct, wild, from out of 500 people, 12 or 15% achieved it with wild technique. Very little practice. There are some guys who swear, wow, everything has to be with wild, this is the best, this is the royal now. But the reality of it, take 500 experiences from 200 different guys or 500 different guys. The reality of it is very small. The success rates are very small. It's only 12%. And then 30% is upon awakening. And the remaining 40-something, 50-something, 60% is from within the dream state. So you see, the split is very, very unbalanced. And you have to understand one thing, is that once you go to sleep, you do not always have the pink elephant that you recognize. Not only you need to have the pink elephant, or a place, a situation that is out of place, to tell you that you are within the dream. You must be also lucky to recognize that the pink elephant talking to you is out of place, you see? But you don't always have the privilege of it. But the reality of it is, if you are a practitioner of the practices that we work on today, you will have spontaneous experiences in more than half of your practice. So that's what I advised in the previous podcast, is that go on and with your dream journal, write down, how did you achieve your out of body astral projection lucid dream? Was it a direct, indirect, or from within the dream, spontaneous. I call some also experiences for free. You get them for free because you just recognize. And look, so that was yesterday. I had at least five, I think 5 or 6, at least five I can remember one by one, and 6 I was not sure. So I had 5 out of body lucid dream astral projections, chained one after another. And I didn't use any technique. I was practicing it in the wild, and I had in a wild way, in the middle of the night, like I described at the beginning of this video, of this podcast. I was practicing with the wild, but there was a break of awareness, and I dove into the dreaming state, and I recognized the dreaming state. So one I remember was I was seeing my hands on the bed. There was all the elements for me to confuse the reality with dreaming, but no. Well, of course, I have the experience to help me out, but I did recognize that this is a dream bed there. Plus the bed started to appear. I was already present when the bed started to appear, coming from darkness, like somebody switch on the light and the hands start to appear. The bed is appearing and see my hands. Dream state. Stand up. Reality test just to make sure. I'm already sure it's a dream state, but still, I like to close my nose, and the way I act, small trick there. As you can see, I have big nostrils, and the African brother and sisters will, because they they have good ones too. The problem when you dig your nose, often like me, you get nostrils like that, and if I close my nostrils from here, even now, I can still have some air going through. So I'm always a little bit paranoid with it. So what I do is, instead of closing them, I close them from above. So here I'm sure that everything is closed, and I try to inhale by the closed nostrils. Try to fly, push your fingers through the wall, through the all reality checks, you can find them, and go on, and so intention. So Jamie was talking about intention. So you see, I'm practicing the wild way, no technique involved, just waiting for the right moment. Lost the waking state, went into the dreaming state, and because the intention, I have no idea how much I slept. Between me, I went to the kitchen, had a drink, went to pee, like like a good student or professional. Like I don't teach you things I'm not doing myself. I do this exactly the same because it works, and I know it works. So I did all of that, but I have no idea. After I lost the awareness, I have no idea if it was 1 minute, 15 seconds, or 1 hour after. I didn't check the time. The only way to know it, you have to, you need to check the time and see. And then dream collapses. I have a false awakening. I recognize it. I can still see something else, another scenery, recognize, stand up, go on. Five in a row, and I believe there was no awakening. It's a false awakening. So you see, there was, but begin also. That's a little tip that I'm gonna give you. Never, ever take it as a habit. Never ever trust an awakening. So it means you think you woke up. So you, as a good dreamer practitioner, do not forget my advice. Put it in your armpit. Keep it with you. You woke up, even if you didn't practice anything, you wake up middle of the night, scratch your head, test, and then go back to sleep. And sometime it will surprise you. Scratch your head, you think you woke up, can breathe through the closed nose. Stand up. No separation. I mean, it is the separation, stand up, but Okay, we did already probably an hour, so I don't want to make it too long. I try to keep it within 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, make it human, you know, not 3-hour cast, even though I could go on and go on and go on. So that's the tip. So make it a good memory of this split between the techniques, and please take this good advice of Jamie and me about the intention and make it work for you. Be very aware about the fact that whatever the practice that you do for dreaming, be it reading a book or practicing your wild approach or upon awakenings, this is one way to manifest your intention. Yes, you can do repetitions, you can do mantras, but anything that you do in relation to the practice is an expression of your intention to achieve a certain result. And it's very clear what you want to achieve. So you will increase your overall amount of success. And in that amount of success, 50 to 60% of experiences are embedded in spontaneous experiences due to your intention and practice. So even if you don't have success with wild, if you failed it, you will still have success in the rest of the in the remaining part of the night by simply falling asleep and recognizing that the dream state. You have practiced upon awakening and you failed. You fall asleep with intention to practice it again upon awakening, but you fall asleep and you recognize the dream state. Done. And it doesn't matter if somebody wondering, you know, my personal opinion and experience, it does not matter how did you achieve the state. Some guys will differentiate, and often the person will say it's an out-of-body experience because they stand up from the bed and have some kind of feeling of separation, and within the dream is a lucid dream. That some guys go and upgrade the experience by jumping into the body and re-separating from the body. In my experience, we don't have to do all of that. You can separate from the body, or you can be already within the dream. Try to do the same things in the two experiences, and you are capable to do everything in the same way. Yes, sometimes you can't go through the wall, but there are techniques how to overcome that difficulty. I will do another week. We can't do it now. So if you can overcome it, how can you make it? How can you differentiate it? You see what I mean? If you can, then what's the difference? No, but I don't want to say what I say is the absolute truth. I do not want to negate anyone else, and everyone is absolutely entitled to have his own opinion on things, and etc., etc. And me, often I have the approaches. I'm giving you the stuff that works, and your approach and your opinion and your personal view on things is your personal. So, and my advice: do not let anyone to tell you otherwise. You are the only one to take decision of how you think the things should be. So let me just check if there is any comment, and probably we call it, we make it, we close it down. I think it's we close it down. I think we are done. Huh? It's good. It was good. So do we have any comment? No, so it's good. All right. Okay, last comment from Jamie. I did too learn a great deal personally from Michael Raduga in Los Angeles. One of the best technique that works for me is the rolling out of bed technique. I recommend that one. I'm sure Yuri can explain better. Yeah, or rolling out, you know, basically you roll to the left or to the right. Sometimes the guys will be worried, okay, but if I roll, I might encounter my wife or my partner, or if I roll to the left, there is a wall, there is a neighbor. Am I going to end up in my neighbor house? Well, if you end up in your neighbor house, you know that you are in a dream state. You know, if you went to the war, you would be worried about your do not wake up your wife, etc., or fall from the bed if your bed has no walls and it's Um, but guys, seriously, and I'm serious there. I have never ever been wrong on the moment of separation. That is me. I don't know why. I'm just lucky. I don't know but maybe it's an issue for me as well, because probably I did not recognize some of the dream states. Because if I'm only sure when I want to separate, maybe I missed some. It's much better to try to separate and be wrong than not to try to separate at all. Because like I said previously, many guys are practicing and they have many occurrences and many results going on, and they don't separate at all, and hence they don't have experience of out of body. They stay still in bed, see the colors, see a different blue or green sailing, while the sailing should be white, and they tell friends the story. But go on, shoot to the sky, change dimension, become a bear, a panther, so many amazing experiences. Why just stay in bed and enjoy the hypnagogia on some fractals and divine geometry or whatever? That's not so interesting. Let's be honest. I mean, if you have never seen fractals, do it. If you've never seen sacred geometry in a hypnagogic state, do it. But I mean, there's so much better to do. So, guys, Jamie, thank you very much for being here. It's very nice to have you aboard. And thank you, everyone, as well. Jason, that's a martial artist from Kuala Lumpur who is joining here. He's a good friend of mine. We did some Muay Thai for a while together. Okay, guys, let's call it to the end. I don't see more comments. I hope you guys enjoyed, and so the next workshop is next week on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. You can find information in the group. The event is there. You can find it on the website. I'll be teaching, and if you are, if so happen you're watching this live, you are entitled for the 10% discount. You can watch it from home. It's a webinar, so it's 4 hours on each day. On Saturday on 4 hours, and 4 hours on Sunday, and I will teach you absolutely everything. So you must be not too tired. Take some notes. It's gonna be interactive, and I will teach you everything A to Z. And once you attend the workshop, you are entitled to re-attend the same workshop for free. So basically, you are paying for 2 workshops. It's always nice to, 6 months later or 1 year later, come and re-attend. I always upgrade myself. I never stay stagnant on things. But it's nice also to come and get motivation from me, like Jamie was just mentioning a while ago. And I have a follow-up so far. It's a free follow-up. I always follow up on my students. Success rates normally go from 50% to 90% on the first day. So half of the people will experience on first day, and within 1 week we bring it to probably 100% of success, because I follow up on you and see that if you do something wrong, I will adapt. I will review what you are doing, what errors, mistakes you do, and we bring you to a good level of practice, of your personal practice. So I will never leave you alone. So far, it's a lifetime follow-up. How great is that? I don't have thousands of people coming to bug me every day, so I still can do it. So far, it's a lifetime, so I do not leave you alone. So come to the workshop. If you like the way I present things, then be my guest. Okay, guys. So have a good day, have a good night, and probably in 10 hours from now, 8-9 hours from now, I will do another live cast. Probably do something else. I try to record it, etc. So see you guys, and thank you very much. Thank you to be here, guys. Thanks. See you. Have a good day. Have a good night.